Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. If you are interested in finding out more about the hosts and the shows that UPRN has to offer, you can head to uprntalkradio.com and you can access the thousands of archives that the network has. You can find out more about the hosts. There are shows for everyone. It is not all high strangeness and paranormal. There is something for everyone. It looks like, folks, if you have access to Facebook, it looks like it is not streaming properly on Facebook. So on the Facebook pages, I think that we are getting a little bit of help in the background with that. Maybe you could help redirect folks over to the YouTube page or to the YouTube channels. So we are on multiple YouTube channels. See if it's working now. If you want to participate in the chat, that is where I would suggest for you guys to go. Let's see. Facebook. Looks like we're all good now. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, let's see if we can get it rolling. Looks good. Thank you. Always appreciate Michelle DeRoche, our network manager. We'd be lost without you, Michelle. So funny. Let's bring Kim out. My friend, my colleague, medium, and grief counselor, Kim Sage.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So good. Funny, eh? We were both like, this feels like it was going to go sideways.
And well, you started lagging on my side, and I was like, oh my gosh, is my internet going to Yeah. I do live in the country, but I have Starlink, and it's never let me down. But sometimes it may lag just a little bit. So it's up.
Well, the wind has picked up. So that's what I was worried about, is that the wind was going to do something and, it would go laggy here. But looks like we're doing okay.
We'll just wing it.
That's exactly what we're going to do. Everybody needs to just buckle in because we're going to wing it for the next 2 hours, folks. I just want to pull up some hellos from everybody. And there's some names that you're going to recognize as well, too. Hello, Mort. Thank you for being here. Heidi Gold, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Mish, hello. Thank you for being here. Mish chimes in from Australia.
Oh, nice.
Our dear friend, Rhonda, thank you for being here. Yes, so the freaking awesome Paranormal show, the Orion Effect with the Rift Nation Network. You guys, Rhonda has also been on this show on Spirit Switchboard as well too, so you can find her on those shows. Kathy Lemire, hello. Our friend Victoria, Astrolite Paranormal. Thanks for being here. Mish. Oh, you're having a party, Heidi? That's so fun. Dance party. That's what we all need, a dance party. Let me scroll down. Oh, James, thank you so much for being here. The Wiz is in the house. Hello, James. Oh, there you go, Kim. Julie Dow, happy Switchboard Friday. Thank you so much. Thanks, Julie. Kim Cass, hello. Thank you for being here. Sue Ecker, hello. Thank you for being here. Oh, Jennifer. It's very nice to see you here. Thank you so much, Denise Smits. Here you go.
Ah, my friend Kenny. Yep.
Thank you for chiming in and being here. Appreciate you. We didn't even really get to talk much through 2025.
No, because it was go, go, go. Yeah, I think there was like a good 3 or 4 months that we didn't talk, and then December came and it was like, oh my gosh, let's catch up because we haven't talked. Yeah,
I know. And having to send a message, and I know I just had that message come in from Rhonda too. Girl, we need to get it on the calendar.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that I would have to live by my calendar so much in my life.
I know.
But I really do. I really do. And I tell people I'm at the point now where, like, if you send me a message and I forget, like, please, you're not offending me. Send me another message, because some days my brain is a brain. Huh?
Or 2 or 3 messages.
Yes. And
all I ask though is that it's not on all platforms, because that gets super overwhelming, and then I can't answer all from the different platforms. It needs to be streamlined into one space.
One messenger. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Life gets overwhelming sometimes, and I am all for the reminders. I'm not offended at all.
And you were doing school on top of everything else this year too.
Yeah. And I'm getting ready to start next week. I start school again. So my semester starts back up. I had a good 3.5, 4 weeks off. That was nice, but life happened a lot in those weeks off. So I just live off of, go, go, go. It's just the way life is. But
no, I don't want to agree to that.
Yeah, I don't either. It's just the way it seems to be.
Oh, deer in headlight mode. Deborah Hackett-Jones, sweet lady. So Deborah Hackett-Jones is a medical intuitive, a medium here in Southern Ontario. She is a beautiful bright light and an inspiration for many folks. She's been on the show a couple of times as well too. So
I will have to get her reference, because I'm all about referring. Look, I stay in my lane. So I like to build a community that I can refer my clients to that, are more versed in those kind of things.
Yeah, I agree. And that is the key, like in creating community, right? Understanding that it's good. And we had this conversation before we started as well too, right? Somebody had reached out to you thinking that you were local. I'm like, no, local doesn't always play in the sandbox. So sometimes the further out.
I don't mind traveling, but yeah.
Yes, and Lisa Crick. So we're hoping that we're going to get Lisa Crick and you.
Yes, where is she?
She should down there.
In. Yeah, I adore Lisa.
Well. Me too. She's so much fun. So much fun. I had reached out to you and pitched this idea about doing the show centered around not just grief, but talking about our loved ones on the other side that are not at rest. And what does that mean to not be at rest, and how does that affect us? And how does our grief play into that as well too? And there's so many different layers to it, right? In the not being at rest. So I would ask you, let's talk about it not from a paranormal investigation standpoint, but maybe from a session, like working as a medium with a client. Does that happen very often for you, where you feel somebody in spirit not at rest? And what does that mean?
So
from your perspective?
In my experience with like personal one-on-one readings, I don't know if I would say that their loved ones are not at rest, but there's definitely healing that needs to happen between my client and their loved one. And sometimes it can be very heavy, like very, very heavy personal things. So you have to kind of like navigate that responsibly. But I have had some readings where there's been, I feel like if there's a lot of healing that needs to happen, a lot of unanswered things, a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas, it tends to be energetically more heavy for me, feeling wise. And in my experience, a lot of times spirit will come through to wrong their rights. So it's almost like after they cross over, and it doesn't excuse their what they did here in the now, in the physical. It doesn't excuse their actions here, but it's almost, in my experience, when they cross over, they see the big picture and they see what they did wrong, and they want to make it right. They want to apologize. I have had, and it's interesting though, because you just never know, because I have had one or two spirits that just won't come forward. For what reason? Yeah, I've had it happen twice. And I think it was on my client's end too, because I feel that maybe they weren't ready for that as well. So
right. That makes sense.
So I don't push it. It's
I found, so for me doing this full time as a career, it's been like 19 years. So almost 20 years full time. I would say I can count on one hand, and I remember each one of them specifically, only 3 out of this time period where the spirits have come through are not crossed over, that are in that stuck space.
Oh, wow. I haven't experienced that.
Yeah, and not fully crossed over. So when I think about not at rest, that would be top, right? Not fully crossed over, and needing that support in crossing over. And it doesn't happen very often, right? Like, people, I think, have a misunderstand maybe that concept as well too, right? And for me, when they're like that, it feels like slogging through mud, like when your boots are stuck in a mud puddle. Like, you just can't.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you feel? Like, do you feel that they're stuck? Is that the energy that they put off when you're in the reading?
It's just heavy, like slogging through mud. It's like the teacher from Charlie Brown. It's like the teacher from Charlie Brown. It's just
like suffocating. Yeah,
it's not flowing fast. It's not clear. And so having to support, and it really is like spirits needing counseling or therapy as well too, to be in that space. And so the ones that are crossed over that I have found, we create our heaven hell space based on our thoughts, words, and actions here, right? And we do have to watch our life play out and in review. So they feel that stuff, and that's where depending on where we're tapping in, where there may be that unrest, and it's generational that we carry as well too, right?
Oh yeah. I've been, this past year, really going into this year, really in the past 6 months, I've really tried to do a lot of ancestral work just for my lineage and my lineage after me. So trying to go back and do healing on a lot of levels, so it doesn't get repeated.
So when we talk about doing ancestral work for people that are new to these concepts and maybe not at that place just yet, is ancestral work and shadow work the same thing, separate thing, part and parcel, little bits of both?
I feel like it could be a little bits of both. I feel ancestral work for me is so like on one side of my family, I can definitely look at it and see cycles of myself, my mom, my grandma. Like, I can definitely see things that have happened in all of our lives very similarly. And so when I go in, I try to, so one concept that I was working on was going in and figuring out when it started. So going in and figuring out which ancestor it started with, and, talking to them about why it started, and giving healing there. So, and saying, like, we don't have to keep doing this. Like, our lineage doesn't have to keep suffering. We don't have to keep doing this. Like, we can heal and move forward. So ancestral work for me is in that sense, but I feel like it's shadow work too, because you learn why you react to certain things, and I feel like it can be hereditary.
Yes. And passed down without, like, subconsciously as well too, or skipping that generation, all of that, all of that plays a part.
Not to go too squirrel on that, but it was just, it kind of like coincides.
At one point on my journey in my obsessive ADHD neurodivergent brain, I I wrote down every male person I could think of that I could remember from the time I was little all the way up, like pages. It took me a really long time. I was thinking like, and then what my relationship was to that person, what happened with that person, if there was a trauma or how they behaved, because I wanted to see that full pattern this way. And then I did it for females as well too, like all the way through. It was probably a little obsessive, but it was very insightful that I took all
That's
that
very
time.
thorough. Yeah, that's very thorough.
And where maybe I left a piece of my energy in that space,
piece or a little,
and being able to call that back, or forgiveness where I maybe was the asshat to needing to do some, different types of forgiveness work as well too for myself and within that relationship. And I think that's where I really understood too, seeing how I could see the other females within our family structure having the same or different patterns, and understanding that. But ancestral work for me was about 8 years ago. I met this medium, again, all you mediums from the southern states. I adore all of you. And this guy was from the southern states as well too. And he's like, you have so many ancestors standing behind you asking why the hell you're not paying attention to them. And it was like a light bulb went off. Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't either. So
I can call on them.
Yeah, when I first started this journey, like I was taught my spirit guides, and I did have one uncle that was a spirit guide. Well, is a spirit guide to me. But besides that, it never really dawned on me to reach out to my ancestors. Like, I don't know. It didn't. I guess my mentors didn't teach it, and it really didn't. And then all of a sudden, I started getting more interested in my lineage and like doing my heritage, and I feel that's what kind of ignited it for me. Because I feel like I wanted to start bringing in some of of the older ways and some of the things that they used to do. Because I don't know, it's interesting. It's
well,
about finding out.
I feel beyond interesting. I think that it is, correct myself just like you did. I feel it's vital for us to honor our heritage and it helps us be stronger and more confident in the way that we approach our connections to our intuitive self and with them on the other side. And it builds clarity with however we're receiving information. I have found it just got loud. It got louder and the work got deeper.
Yes. Yeah. So I created an ancestor altar in my living room. And I have a mirror. Like, I felt compelled to put a mirror there above it. Mm-hmm. So when I do my ancestor, or every morning when I go light a candle and talk to them, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. So for me, it's like magnified. It's almost like looking at my ancestors too, because I'm looking at myself. But it really is that inner, oh my gosh, it's I don't know. I can't even describe the feeling of connection.
So like home, and I feel a big part where people feel disconnected or have that, are missing that or homesick. They feel homesick, and I feel like having that ancestry work or connection, having a deeper connection would help them with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree.
Let me just pull up. Joanne Belisario, thank you so much for popping in and being here. Sandy Cordick, hello. Thank you for being here. Sherry Madigan, hello. Thank you so much. Shannon, thank you. So Shannon is saying, I feel like we realize our ancestors are there for guidance at the right time. I also ignored mine for a long time. And Joanne is saying, I love the altar idea. I feel people have something similar to an altar, but maybe are not using that word. Right. When you have candles lit around and you have photos of your loved one, you're halfway there. Yeah. And then if you've got a piece of jewelry or you've got their wallet that's there too, then it is also part of your altar. It's just using a different word,
Absolutely. Yeah. So many times during readings, their loved ones will show me in their living room, like a shelf with, they have all the pictures of their loved ones. And I'll say, do you have on your dresser or in your shelf, you have a picture of all of them there? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, they're showing me that. Like they love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just a different word, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's still honoring. So however it is that you are setting your space up, in the things that remind you, and it could be all kinds of different trinkets.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I change mine out. Sometimes I'll leave coffee, I'll leave like little food or, whatever I'm feeling that day. With the seasons, I'll go out and get the flowers and put them on. And I just do it intuitively, like whatever I feel like needs to go there.
Do you find the way that things have shifted and changed, socially, politically, energetically, that more people are coming to that awareness in needing to tap into their intuition, tapping into their intuitive guidance, and connecting with their loved ones on the other side?
Yeah, I have found, and I don't know if it's because of technology and because everything's so accessible to us now, where we can kind of like explore what's in the back of our head or what we're curious about. Or we kind of explore it too without anyone else knowing. So if you're scared to be a part of a community, but I have seen influx. But you know what's interesting, Carrie Lynn? I see a lot of it like with our generation. Like I feel like we're pretty close in age, but I feel like if our generation, we're also like the black sheep too. So
Yep.
It's always like we're kind of like we're questioning things. And I don't know if it's when you get to a certain part of life. For me, it was when my kids got older, and I could start taking time for myself again in a selfish, healthy way, but kind of figuring out who I was and really spending time on the things that I wanted to. But I have seen a lot of questioning, a lot of healing from stuff that they was instilled in them since a child. And yeah, I've seen a lot more of it for sure. But I think it's a good thing. I feel it's a good thing.
I do too. And when we are tapping into connecting with our loved ones on the other side, that they are also helping us do the work. They are also helping in their own healing on the other side, expanding as well too, and helping ground that generations back and for the future as well too. Like what we do ripples out.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Let me pull up. Sorry. Oh, so Michelle is not. Michelle was in the background helping me make sure that the show was airing where it needed to land. But she's not part of the show tonight. Deb Morris, thank you so much for being here. So Deb is sharing, my Nana lived through the Spanish flu pandemic. I had her photo up during the COVID pandemic, and it was strengthening to me.
Oh, I love that. My great grandmother actually passed during the Spanish flu. So her saying that was like, it's interesting. My grandma was with me.
Mish, you are so funny. Yep, you are the Michelle. The Mish. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So with Deb Morse sharing that connection with the Spanish flu, right? For her Nana, and then you saying this is how your grandma, recognizing that as a synchronicity in order to feel connected to your loved ones, all those little ways that those signs and symbols show up. Can you talk about, helping people bring that awareness to themselves and how those signs and symbols show up?
So I try to tell people that it's Spirit is not always like loud in your face. Like the signs and symbols that they do give us is not always, sometimes they can be, right?
It's not a big burning bush.
But most of the time it's very subtle. It's very subtle, and it's stuff that we probably discredit or we don't even like really pay attention to unless we're kind of like tune our mind in to pay more attention to it. But little things like, like Deb mentioned in the Spanish flu, as soon as I read it, it pinged in my head about my great grandmother passing in the Spanish flu, and it had that memory of her. So one of the things that Spirit always tells me to relay in readings is like when you see something or you experience something, or if you're just going about your day and your loved one like pops up in your head, like you start thinking about them, that's a good indicator that they're right there with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It's those plops of information or the ahas that come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And when we talk about being present and quieting the Chihuahua brain, so those thoughts, right?
That's what. Oh my gosh, that's so hard because we're both ADD. So it's so hard. And when I tell people like meditation truly does help, I always get oh my gosh, I can't quite look. I can't either. Like I've been doing this for a while, but even 5 minutes or even just kind of doing like mindful body scans, just taking a step back and training your brain to pick it up while the world goes on around us.
And changing the wording if you need to. Say breath work. I'm working on my breath work instead of working on meditation. Because if meditation freaks you out, you hold your breath right away and get into stress mode. So if you said, I'm practicing my breath work, then maybe, that'll work for you. Like it's okay to switch up the words in order to make it work right.
Yeah. And even just there's so many different forms too, because just walking, like walking meditation, driving, that's another thing. Or doing something.
I'm so glad you said that because that's a thing for me too.
Driving. Yeah. Although I will say sometimes it can be a little, sometimes I don't know if I dissociate or if I'm just in my own head, but I will like become aware and I'm like, I don't remember getting from A to B. But so, yeah, I will just say that happens. Not the best. But it's real life, though. I mean, I am not the only one that does it. I've had friends that say they do the same thing too.
Yeah. I was just going to say the only time that I've had like don't remember from here to here, there's like an alien story that's attached to it, but we're not on that kind of.
I was going to say we could definitely probably go off on a loophole with that. Not saying it happens all the time, but sometimes it does. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I just yeah. See, Sue said she does that too.
And it's not aliens. Mish, I understand what you're saying. Where you hold your eyes also helps the mind. So looking straight ahead, or that like that soft gaze when you're looking at gaze. Yeah. Michelle Plummer driving, and the radio sends messages as well.
Yes, the radio. Yeah. Spirit always tells me like electricity is one of the easiest things for them to manipulate. Right. So like songs and messing with the radio.
My sweet friend Robin, she's in Tupelo, Mississippi. So when you get into the car with her, and when she does it on her own as well too. She gets into the car, she says a prayer to her angels, and then she says, and whatever guidance I am needing today, let it come through the first song that plays on the radio. And then she's like, and everybody's got to be in the space. And then she starts a car, we start to move, and then she turns the radio on, and whatever like message that we're supposed to receive comes, every single time she gets in the car. It's
that.
So I
adopted that. I'm gonna try that because I love music. I love music. I love I love music. So I'm gonna definitely try that. I can do that next time I drive.
I thought highway hypnosis. I thought I saw you say that, Kenny. Yeah, highway hypnosis. That's so funny. Mish is saying, if a bird flies in front of me when I'm driving, I take it as a sign to slow down. I also put a big protection bow around my car.
Yeah, I have I have a big strand of sweetgrass on the dash of my car, and then I have a little angel at the top that I talk to and before I go on.
Turnpike trance. That's so funny. That's funny.
But it's like, I feel the same way as like driving is when you're doing something mundane. Like a lot of times me just getting ready in the morning, I'll have like direct downloads, or I'll have like just aha moments, or things just plop. So it's always like when I'm doing something that I'm not really
a non-thinking moment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Mowing the grass. I used to, like when I used to clean the pool, like things like that, where I'm just.
Yeah. And, if we're talking about grief journey and those people who are wanting, it's very hard to navigate those kind of conversations with them, because they want that connection, the signs and symbols, the ahas, or dream time. It's really hard because everybody wants the dream time connection to happen, the dream time visitation to happen, and talking about how grief can be the stumbling block through that, and to get into that non-thinking mode, because they're hanging on so tight to their expectation. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that for?
Yeah. So so in my experience, when I have clients come to me and say that, a lot of times I feel it's, so grief on an energetic level, grief can kind of like, at times we can kind of weigh us down a little bit. I don't want to say lower, but our energy not as high vibrational. So I try to tell them not to stress out so much, or not to, it's almost like they hold on to it so much that that's all they think about, and it's all they want is to experience something, but able to kind of like let it go a little bit, or like take a breath, take a step back and allow it to come. I've had that happen before in readings, where someone really wants to connect with somebody, and I'll connect with somebody else first, and then I'll connect with that person. And it's almost because they're holding on to that, the essence of that person so much, that you have to have something else kind of like, so especially when, there's different layers of grief. So especially when in the beginning, when you're in that shock, you're in the shock part, you're almost in survival mode. I tell people, try not to beat yourself up. At the end of the day, we're still human. We're still in this human, trying to navigate life, and you're in survival mode. You're in shock. You're trying to get through the day. So I feel if someone's having a hard time connecting, maybe take a step back and do simple things of being mindful, even just kind of feeling if you're holding grief in certain places. So doing a mindful body scan and feeling if you feel stuck in an area, and then breathe in to release that area, but being mindful of where you're carrying grief as well.
Yeah, agreed.
That makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Sometimes I like what I'm trying to get in my head and put out into words. I'm hoping it's making sense.
Well, and grief doesn't necessarily have to be the loss of a loved one either.
No, absolutely not.
Right? Grief and transitions, job, relationships, pet.
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 I've grieved more over my pet than people.
Grief shows up for many different reasons, and it really does disconnect you and throw you off kilter, that mind body spirit connection. So doing that pause and showing yourself grace and compassion, the same as you would to somebody else that you love and care about, right? That's hard. I find grief of the past as well too. Mish, that can throw you off kilter as well. It's that high intention, low attachment, right? Setting it out and trusting that your loved ones on the other side can still hear you. And that love continues. Love doesn't die.
Oh my gosh, no, it shifts. And, there's this beautiful quote that I heard when I was going through like the grief coaching certification. And it was, we grieve because we love. So if you really think about how beautiful it is that we had somebody in our life that we love so much, that we grieve, but Yeah, I feel like grief is not, and it doesn't go away. So it's learning the ebbs and flows. One technique that I learned that I felt like it was important too is if somebody is really consumed with grief, kind of like have an appointment with it every day. So set an intention every day at a certain time or have you, and light a candle, talk to your loved one, but almost like journal, deal with your grief in that moment if you're feeling overwhelmed, like it's consuming your everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Deb is sharing, in December, I was feeling off and couldn't put my finger on it. My dad and my friend that had passed kept coming to me in my dreams. I was also getting many signs that I needed to follow up. I did, and thankfully I did, as we caught my cancer early. This conversation is so synchronized to how much we need to be aware of everything within and all around us. Just gonna deal with that.
Yeah, in December. So the holidays definitely bring up more of that grief and the heaviness.
I find year 2 for people tends to be thicker than year 1, actually. I don't know if you found
almost
that
because the shock is worn off, and then it's like coming into the daily life and then coming into the holidays. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
With year 2, it's all of the things, responsibilities, obligations, all those sorts of things are done, right? Where closets have been cleaned out or donations have been made, paperwork is filed, all of those sorts of things are done. So in that year 2, you really are starting to sit with missing a sound of a voice or the smell, the touch, all of that stuff really kicks in that year 2 for folks. So I find the face of grief changes in year 2.
Yeah, as you're talking, I'm thinking about how society in general feels. Well, I know in here in the States, it's like you're supposed to, it's almost like you're not allowed to grieve. It's almost like your loved one passes and then you're supposed to fast forward back to regular life.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about year 2 and navigating, like by then everyone feels like you should be back to normal and you should be living life like it was before you started grieving. So I feel like it's important to be gentle with ourselves and allow ourselves to feel those emotions and allow ourselves to grieve properly.
I want to come back. I'm really sorry. You know what? We had some this stuff happening in the chat, so I feel like I was
sorry.
a little
It was making me get off too.
But I think I got on top of that. So I want to come back to this. Deborah Hackett Jones, I am wrapping you in the most loving light. Thank you for sharing, and I hope that we can continue to send healing energy your way if you'll allow us to. We'd like to do that for you because I love you to bits. Shane and Tammy Johnnings, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Nadine Smith, I appreciate you being here. They are sharing, it has taken me 8 years to feel my new normal again. So that's another part of it, right? Allowing yourself to and it's a minute by minute, day by day. It's going to shift and change continuously as different experiences. You kind of grow around it. You build your life around it.
Yeah, and there's people don't even know the triggers that they're going to have. So you could be totally going about your day and you smell something and it triggers. It's definitely becomes a part of life, the ebbs and flows.
Kathy, thank you so much for being here. Kathy's sharing, I find December gets harder with each passing year. It's been 4 years now. Once December is gone by, it is so much lighter. Thank you for sharing, Kathy. Do you feel, I have some thoughts about December, because is it heavier because of the collective energy and the collective people that are grieving, and how we feel that and how it affects it and makes it more raw for us?
I feel so. So I didn't really experience it that much until last year. And I remember talking to you about it because last December, I was like, man, it feels like I'm walking through mud. Like it just feels energetically, it was very, very, very heavy and gunky. And then this year I kind of took a step back, and it really starts in November. I feel with the holidays coming up, but I feel like as a collective, we can all make the energy shift. We can make the environment around us shift. But with the holidays, one thing that has helped that I've tried to suggest is bringing little things in with you to help. I mean, to still celebrate them as a part of your life during the holidays. So like making their favorite meals, a lot, or having ornaments made, or using their ornaments, or making things out of the things that you still have of them, but taking little ways to kind of shift the heaviness and put more gratitude there to fill in the heaviness, to kind of shift it. Because I feel like it's all about when you're able to pinpoint that you're feeling that way, being able to shift it so you're not feeling like you're stuck.
Yeah. New traditions, doing something like that, donating or to a charity that would,
do something in memory. Or if they were big in volunteering or something like that, you could volunteer in their honor, in their memory.
I don't know. I find the grief, it starts probably mid-November. You can feel that energy shift and start to get heavy moving into December. Oh, Mish. I was attacked in my job. My coworkers at the time dumped on me. We had to deal with your mom dying, Dad. I also had my family show me that hasn't been easy. Oh, Mish.
I'm so sorry.
Well, we're glad that you're still here. That's when that shields up rubber bubble with slime, where that energy just kind of rolls off, and continuing to do the things that you need for you. And I feel too, if you are in survival mode, sometimes you have to rediscover what you need. It's having to try all kinds of different things to figure out what it is that you need.
Yeah, because we're not all the same. We're not cookie cutter. It's figuring it out.
One thing that I found that helped me, Sandy is sharing, one thing I found that helped me was a memorial tree, cardinals, angel wings, and an empty chair put beside the tree.
I love that.
Thank you for sharing that. I've always set a place setting for my grandma at the table as well too. Our loved ones on the other side, but in particular it was my grandma. But for anybody in spirit that's wanting to sit at the table with us, and I did. I used to hang photos of past Christmases on the Christmas tree, so we had all of those memories on our tree as ornaments. So it was always the family tree and not just
I love that.
The Christmas tree. So that was, it felt good, and it felt like it helped me remember those times that were joyful as well too, even though I was missing them deeply. Sue is sharing, just starting year 2, I have accepted that grief will always be a part of me now, as grief is from love, and the love that I have for my husband is so deep and so wonderful. Christmas was hard, but I focused on my little grandson. New Year's was difficult, as it is the first year he wasn't in physically.
Yeah, it's typically the first, getting through the first of the year. It's navigating.
One thing that's helped me with my parents, Mish is sharing, is they're okay with my parents, is they were okay without their parents. Stephanie Malo, stepping, Now I'm having a moment, Steph. I'm so sorry. Stopping to smell flowers. I'm so sorry, Steph. I had like a brain fart. So, book series. So Steph has been on the show as well too, and we did a winter solstice event together. So, yes, stopping to smell the flowers. I got there.
She was mentioning the music. So I love suggesting making a playlist with your loved one's favorite music and favorite songs. So whenever you're missing them a little bit more, play it, jam out.
Yeah, it's honoring grief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that, so I know that I wanted to talk about, not being at rest. I find the biggest questions that do come in, or the things that come up, are the people in spirit asking for forgiveness, the things that they didn't get to finish, or regrets they may have, and then vice versa, right? The people that are here, did I do enough? Are they proud of me? Those are big ones that come in. And another one that comes up frequently is tell them I love them, or can you tell them for me? So in all of that, can you have some thoughts that you'd like to share around that?
Yeah. So, and help me come back around if I go off. But with the coulda, woulda, I call them the coulda, woulda, shouldas, or the lack of closure. A lot of times when that comes, even though if I'm in a reading and I'm validating their loved one and we're having a beautiful conversation, there's still some intimate things that I'm sure that my clients have that they don't want to share with me, but they need to tell their loved one. So I always suggest writing a letter, writing dear whoever they may be, and put the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you feel like you need to put in there, and burn it. And you can even light a candle and make it almost like a ritual, if you'd like to. And I tell people sometimes you have to do it more than once. So it's okay to continuously write letters until you feel like that you've kind of cleared those of what you've been carrying around. Another thing is when they ask, tell them. I kind of chuckle when they do that, because then I always have to stop and I'm like, oh my gosh, they hear you all the time. Like they hear you literally all the time. I love it when their loved ones call them out for talking to them in the car, or talking to them in a certain way all the time, because then they're like, oh my gosh, they really are here with me. So it's almost like an aha moment for them. But I'm like, gosh, I almost feel like, and I don't know if it's the same for you, Carrie Lynn, I almost feel like whenever I am talking to a specific loved one, it's almost like a telephone line. I feel like all I have to do is just start talking, and all of a sudden I kind of feel their essence near me, or it's almost like I just know. It's like a ping that I know that they're with me in that moment. Yeah. And I really do feel like it's that simple. I feel like it's not complicated, or we don't have to make things complicated to talk to our loved ones.
And we don't, we can't over talk to them. It's not too much. We're not bothering them by talking to them all the time. They're not bothered by us talking to them all the time.
No. I have never had, in my experience, I've never had spirit tell me that a loved one comes to them too much, or talks to them too much, or bothers them. I've never experienced that.
And I've had them say like they don't have to, like people getting concerned that they didn't get to the cemetery, or they didn't get to this place to have that conversation with them, or they missed this week's visit, or the guilt that somebody is carrying for not having that connection at a certain spot, or a particular spot. For them in spirit to say it's okay, because I'm hearing you wherever you are at. And realizing, if we are talking about us as a collective consciousness of one, that they are part of that collective consciousness. It's omnipotent and always connected, right? I think that we put it as an over there where it's really far away, when really it's like a curtain that's just kind of overlapped of our space. So they're right here, not over there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not so far away. And I had that experience when my grandfather passed when I was 19, and I didn't go to his funeral, and I held that guilt for a very long time. But if I think back to that moment of not going to his funeral, I remember on the day of his funeral sitting outside, and like all of a sudden it got really windy. And I almost like felt him walking up the sidewalk. And this was before I did any of this. This is when I was a kid. But I can look back at it now and be like, well, he was with me in that moment, trying to tell me that it was okay. But it took a really long time for me to figure out that it was. And a lot of times spirit will tell me like it's a human thing, because we hold on to those things. And so acknowledging it, and when we talk about it, it kind of helps them let that go, or take that backpack of emotions that they've been carrying around off. But I like to call it a beautiful dance, like a beautiful dance with spirit of life.
And letting them know what's going to work best for you in that dance. Like if you are super stressed during the day and you need that sleep at night, letting them know, I need to sleep tonight. So can you make something happen with the radio in the car on my way to work? Or like setting a date with them as well too, right? So
that's what I've been trying.
Yeah.
Since you told me that, I've been trying that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I encourage creating a date night with your folks that are on the other side. So all week you pass their photo and go, Saturday night, you and me, and then be in a good zone space on a Saturday. Take time to get into non-thinking mode and relax and chill, and a glass of water, because it's a conductor, right? Water is a conductor. Mm-hmm. Having a glass of water by the bed, and ask them to come in a way that you'll see, hear, feel, and know, and remember in the morning, and give yourself a few weeks of doing that, and then take a break if you need to make it work. Because I'm seeing Vivian Graw is sharing, I often dream of my parents who are both deceased. And that's beautiful. Yeah. And most people, that's the one they want the most, as that validation, right? That they're having a visitation, which is different than a dream.
Yeah. In my experience, visitations are, oh my gosh, just like you and I talking, just like the most realist, like it's just not dream. It's not foggy. It's not fuzzy. It's just very crisp and clear. I guess that's the way I could explain it.
Yeah. If you write out all the details and stick it in your drawer, and then you write it out again and 3 months later, and the details are all the same, like it just doesn't change over time, then you know that it's that visitation, right? And
yeah, no, that's accurate. I remember my grandmother came through and helped me with my son. He was going through a time in life, and I can remember it clear as day. And it's been 9 years since I had that visit, but still, I could say it word for word what she told me.
Yeah, it just doesn't fade and go away. And a dream we tend to forget by the time we've had a coffee, right? We know that something happened, but we don't have that recollection of all the details. But thank you, James. I appreciate when you keep me on track, because the squirrel on Red Bull will keep on going. So let's do our station ID really quickly. If you are just joining us here now, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard, and I'm your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. If you are interested in hearing more of or exploring more, maybe that's a better way to put it. If you are interested in exploring more of what UPRN has to offer, you can head to uprntalkradio.com, find out more about our hosts and shows. There's always new shows coming on our network. Joe Montaldo is our network owner, and we appreciate him and all the things that he does for us. And Michelle DeRoche, who is our fabulous network manager. I don't know what we would do without Michelle. We all love Michelle. So host of the Outer Realm, Beyond the Outer Realm as well too. Today's guest is my dear friend and colleague, medium and grief counselor, Kim Sage. Thanks so much for being here, being part of the conversation.
Thank you. I was trying to catch up with the comments in the chat while you were talking.
So I can pull some of them up. Mish is sharing, maybe people want validation. Our loved ones are still here, something solid.
Oh, I agree. I agree, because until I had my first evidence-based reading, my entire life I would experience these things, but I didn't have a community at the time. So, all these things I was experiencing, I can look back on now and know they were signs. I wasn't for sure then. It wasn't until I had my first reading with a medium that brought through evidence that it was my loved ones that I really started to believe, I guess you could say, and also trust in what I was getting.
Yeah, trust is a big part in it. And remembering that our loved ones don't want to be entertainment monkeys for us on the other side. So, when you're receiving those signs and symbols, thank you so much. I love it. Bring it on. I'm open to receiving, not that if this is you, could do it again. If this is you, do it again.
Yeah, I try to tell that to people because I've seen it ebb and flow too, right? So I've seen them come around more when I need that reassurance more with what I'm going through in this life. And sometimes they'll kind of pull back, but I try to tell people, when you do realize that it's them, say, hey, thank you for coming by. Because I feel like when you do that, you're reaffirming that you like them doing that. Because I try to explain to people, if you continue to not say anything, it's kind of like, would you continue if you were being ignored, or if you were it just it would slow down. But just having that acknowledgement or intention, I feel makes it stronger. It almost makes it more like a part of your life. It just becomes a part of your daily life where you don't even think about it.
Yeah. And it's a 24/7 flow. It is always there. And it really is through breath work. It is, and it can be as quick as taking that full breath in, and you're connected in that space. I love when you talked about writing letters. I'm a very firm believer in encouraging people to write letters to them as well too. It's kind of like, so the word journaling is another one, like meditation, that causes everybody stink eye tight butt. So
everyone's
yeah. So, but if you were writing somebody a letter, then it feels more apt to follow all the way through, right? But that is part of channeling. It is part of channeling. It is part of creating the connection and helping you get step out of the way. We tend to believe what we read as well too, so it pulls you out of your chihuahua brain and into your heart space.
Yep. Yeah, takes it out of here and puts it in the physical. And it's excellent with grieving too. And on the grieving concept, it's excellent to do grieving prompts, and it kind of helps you maybe write about things that you didn't think were bothering you, but as you start writing, you're like, wow, that kind of makes sense now. So yeah, writing is beautiful.
And I encourage people, if you're not sure where to start, just keep writing the word love until the next words flow out of you. So just write love, 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 love. And then eventually something just starts to flow and the other words come out, and just letting it be part of the process.
Key, oh my gosh, the key is to not think it's you. To not think it's your imagination. That's been the hardest things for me, is to not think it's my imagination.
I feel discernment should be the number one lesson, really. Discernment should be a big lesson for folks, right? Because it will feel different. What's our stuff, what's spirit stuff, and what's coming from somebody else that may be being projected to us. Each one's going to feel very different. So when we're fully present, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to
different places.
All of that. Misha's saying, could be why some people struggle. They don't go with what they feel and think. Well, grief makes you foggy brained. Grief messes up part of that, right? Cindy is sharing, Carolyn was able to give me the clarity and healing from giving me messages from my birth father. I was getting signs and messages from him, but had absolutely no idea it was him. So grateful for that clarity and healing. Thank you for sharing, Cindy.
And that's, at the end of the day, I feel that's why I truly love being a medium and doing mediumship with one-on-one clients, because I feel like it's healing. A lot of times afterwards, people will tell me that it's almost like a weight was lifted off.
I know that. So you did that for me.
Oh yeah. I don't remember.
Oh yeah. And I honestly feel like people forget that we're human. People that, look at us as working as mediums, that we're able to hook in all the time. But grief gets in our way too. Grief got in my way too, where I was doubting the signs I was getting. I was doubting what that relationship was really like, or what Mike was seeing from the other side. Am I making this up? Or and I appreciated you holding space for me, even though this is my career, right? And holding my hand through that process of grief. And it was very private. Like, even this is talking about it more than I have ever talked about it publicly, right? So, that you knew all of this background and could hold that space and make that connection and validate what was going on for that time. I appreciated so much. It helped me tremendously.
You're welcome. I was honored that you asked. But I feel like that is a misconception, that we don't get readings ourselves, or we don't. Every now and then I need that validation too, of having someone else, because we get in our heads. I feel like at the end of the day, I'm still human. Sometimes I get in my head and will question things, and having someone else clarify it, I'm like, okay. And I'll bawl my eyes out. If you start bringing through my loved ones or bring through my dog, that's it. Like, I'm a blubbering mess. And I'm like, this is why I have tissues and I forget.
Yeah. Grief, just, you don't think clearly when you're grieving.
You're in survival mode. I mean, you're just trying to get through the day. And I try to tell people to give yourself grace. Like, just getting out of the bed in the morning, like just getting out of the bed and starting your day, like, be proud of yourself for doing that.
Well, I struggle with that still sometimes too, though.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I find I don't, again, as we're moving up towards Christmas, the influx of emails of people who are struggling and needing that connection or wanting that connection increase a lot, right? And I find this year was better, but I find I get almost in the fetal position. I am so exhausted by Christmas that I'll check emails, but only kind of see parts of them because I don't want to see all of those. Or I'm constantly having to say to myself, in this moment, this is what I'm doing. In this moment, this is all I can do. In this moment, to remind myself that it's okay, that this is as much as I can handle, and letting that be okay, right? Like, we have to give ourselves permission to have those boundaries. And I think the communication, learning how to communicate differently, or expressing what we are needing and allowing is important. And I find people needing to be okay to still share stories about their loved ones. Like,
oh my gosh, they love that.
Yeah. Well, and finding your people where it's comfortable to do that, because when we talk about our loved ones that are on the other side, people get uncomfortable with grief. So then they may not want to hear those stories. Those aren't the right people for you.
Yeah, no, that you're pinging like experiences in my in the past of spirit coming through and saying like, it's okay to talk. Like everyone was grieving. One experience I had, everyone in the house was grieving in their own way, but they were almost like shelling themselves from each other. So like suffering in silence, really, instead of talking about what they were going through. It's almost like everyone was trying to just push through instead of healing together, instead of like pulling off the Band-Aid and talking about it. And I think that that's being brave too, like being raw and just being open about what you're feeling instead of trying to go about like nothing's wrong. Yeah. But yeah, just having the conversation and talk about like memories and laughing and just, yeah, it's beautiful. And it raises the vibrations. It raises the energy when you do that. I know in paranormal investigations, when it's really slow and we're just kind of chatting or saying jokes and stuff and everyone starts laughing, we start getting pings and energy, like, on the equipment and stuff.
And paranormal, is a whole other ball game. Like if we're talking about investigations and locations where spirits may be is a whole other.
Yes, that's a whole different. Yeah, I'm still learning that. I'm fairly. I'll be honest. I'm only like 4 years in the paranormal as a medium, so I am still really navigating that, and it's way different than doing readings with clients.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's layered. It's more complicated than depending on who you're with when you're doing those sorts of things. What the history to the building, the land. There's so much more to it.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about not being at rest, like spirits not at rest, in paranormal investigations, that opens up a whole bunch of different conversations as well too. Like, why aren't they at rest?
Yeah. So, would you like me to share an experience?
Totally. Whatever you feel like sharing, I'm here for it.
So, I feel like my first experience was so I'm really connected with Belle Grove Plantation in Fort Conway, and it's a plantation. So for quite a while, really horrible things happened there. And for the longest time when I first started coming there, in one of the locations during like EVPs, we would constantly get women saying, "Help me, help me, help me." And we would also get in another location, there's thought to be the previous overseer of the plantation still hasn't moved on. He's still on the property. And during our investigations, we would be communicating with spirit through EVPs and through, like, everything's flowing. And then we'll get an EVP or somebody doing the SDs and they'll say, he's coming. And then they're gone. And then you get this suspected entity being very, very vile and just very angry. And that's happened. Oh my gosh, I've been there going on 8 years. And he's still hanging around. He still is, but his life was very traumatic at the end. He fell in love with a servant and impregnated her, and the town basically shunned him. And he tried to commit suicide and then immediately regretted it. But he ended up dying from that. So there's a lot of trauma and a lot of emotions attached with this one energy, with this land. But and when we talk about like trying to help spirit or help them so they can cross over or they can move on, like for him, there's no, like, he doesn't want it.
Yeah, I've run into that as well too. And there's just nothing and I don't know what that is. they feed off of the other energies. They grow in intensity as well too.
Yeah. I would say. And I don't know if you've had this experience, Carrie Lynn, but when I first started coming there to do readings, like I had to have an understanding with him. Like I'm there to work. So I would open up sacred space to do my readings and whatnot. But because I was there so much, and because it's kind of like a thing of mine that I want to find the unmarked graves of the slaves that were there. He was coming in my dreams. He was in my home. Yes.
No.
And it got to the point where it was not good. And so we had to have this like understanding of not basically like, I don't mess with you, you don't mess with me kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it got quite uncomfortable. I'd never experienced things like that or knew that was a thing or that could happen.
Right. So that's part of that collective consciousness, right? So, and it comes back to people asking that question, don't we have to be in person to have a session? No, we don't.
Absolutely not.
In person to have the session, because your people are here and we are connected in this way, right?
Yeah.
And being mindful when you go to those kind of locations that if you are opening up, what the rules and boundaries are, what you will allow and not allow, and being very firm and clear with all of that. And
absolutely.
And they'll push. Those kind of people will push.
Yes. I've really had to have firm boundaries with him.
Yeah. Yeah. So important. Darlene, I'm just going to bring this up. Thank you for being here, Darlene, and for sharing. Darlene is saying, getting back to what you were talking about earlier, just today, I was apologizing to Emma for talking to her so much, because I said to her that I know she is probably busy with other things. I'm sure she said, keep it coming, Mom. I'm listening. I love her so much.
No.
Emma is her daughter that just recently passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Darlene. Yeah, I just today I was driving. Was it today or yesterday? Yesterday. I tell people all the time, like, talk in your car, because we all have Bluetooth. Like nobody cares. But I'll go down I'll turn the radio down, and intentionally I will just have a chat. I'll just have a good old long chat with my loved ones.
Yeah, and so it's perceived ideas, right? Or how media has influenced how people see it as well too. We don't have to always talk about it out loud. We can say it in our head, and they're going to hear our thoughts as well too. So it doesn't necessarily have to be out loud. And there's no such thing as talking too much to them.
No, I mean, I'll be in public sometimes because I've really gotten to the point where I just don't care what people think anymore. So sometimes if I'm in public, I will literally just take a moment to close my eyes and just kind of connect within, and then I'll just open my eyes and keep going.
Yeah. And remembering that you're just as important, like we are important to them, that somebody else isn't more important, that our grief is valid and our experience is valid. And that connection is still important for them as well too on the other side. And on the other side, they can be showing up with everybody at the same night during dream time. Like they could be chatting with all of you at the same time. You could be having that experience.
Yeah. Have you ever had your loved ones show up during a paranormal investigation?
Once.
I recently had it happen, and it was the most fun night. It was a small private, really small private. But it happened to be one of the most fun investigations because my uncle showed up, the ladies I was with, her brother showed up, and the funny thing is, Caroline, that all of them that showed up on Spirit, they're all very similar in personality.
So that's what I was going to ask you. There must have been some similarity or something
that
was in alignment. Yeah.
They're all jokesters. They're all like very jokey, high vibrational, like joyful. And this is the first time I've ever had it happen like this, but I had the dead bell, and I had figured out that one, it was my friend's brother. But then this name came up and I was like, I don't know. You know how you have like amnesia sometimes when people mention names, it's like, I don't know. They kept saying Robert. And I was like, I don't know a Robert. And then like 30 minutes later, we're in a different location and someone brought up the name and it pinged. I was like, oh my gosh, that's my Uncle Bobby. That dead bell was like, it started going crazy. And in my head, I heard winner, winner, chicken dinner. So it was like they were celebrating that we finally figured it out. But yeah,
I find that with sessions though, people will book from all over the place and there will be a theme. Like 1 week it's all bowel cancer, or there's a theme that happens, and they have booked at various times from different places in the world, and it's a theme. So whether it is healing on that type of trauma, if it's helping heal for that grief, I feel they know what they're doing on the other side to help the collective consciousness as well too, and are meeting us where we are at so that we can help in that healing as well.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yes, Mish, our thoughts are powerful.
Yeah.
Stephanie is sharing, I feel they can be in many places at once. Yes. So in that way, I've stopped feeling I might be interrupting them.
Yeah, I feel so too. They've told me through readings before that they can be here in Virginia and they can be on the West Coast with another loved one at the same time. So it's energy. They can be here, there, and everywhere.
That's how I feel. I'm here, there, and everywhere. In my thoughts, and I have like all these different people in spirit, including the spirit guides, showing up at the same time. So
it's the tabs. It's those tabs that we have on the computer, but they're in our head.
Yes, indeed. I find too. Do you not find that some of the people that come through in spirit? Because I've had this. Numerous times where they know, so people ask what they do on the other side. Do they have a job? What are they doing on the other side? So I found they'll come through showing me how they're going to support other people on the other side to either help them transition or to come through in a session, even if they didn't know them in living life. They'll come through because there's a similarity with how they've passed or some kind of connection that way. So they're helping them.
Yes. That was actually my experience when I first started. I had an uncle he wasn't my first spirit guide, but he was a very prominent spirit guide. And it was almost like he was my cheerleader in all of this, but I had never met him in person. He actually passed, maybe, I think 10 years before I was born. So I often wonder now, did we have a thing? Like, did we agree on something before I came down because we were both in spirit at the same time, per se? But yeah, so I got to know him, his personality and all of that, and being able to validate that through his siblings that were still alive, my dad and his brothers and all, through spirit, like through meditation is where I got to get to know him. So I feel like he's not around as much anymore. But definitely in the beginning, it was like he was my cheerleader. It's like he was pushing me along, like, you got this, like, keep going.
I feel that happens for many of us because there's a comfort level. Even if you hadn't have met him in person, there would be some kind of remembrance of what that vibration feels like within your soul family that allows you to relax so that you can do the work.
Yeah. And feeling safe too, right? Kind of like feeling that comfort and safe and you're being protected.
Yeah. It was always my grandma. She was there. So I knew who she was. She would come in first and then she would just sort of gatekeep while I navigated navigated what it was like to have other people, their loved ones, come into my energetic space, right? So I don't like it when people stand too close to me in the grocery queue where they're breathing down my neck. I'm like backing away from no. Thanks. And now we've got this crowd, like a train station of dead folks right up in your face.
Yes.
Like, okay, here we go. So I think that, having that person that we know has our back and can help us navigate that is important. And then with our comfort, they back up, but they're not gone. And that comes back around to, if we're talking about grief and navigating our grief journeys, there is an intense connection that sometimes happens before they even transition, if they're in that heavily medicated space where they are connecting during dream time, letting you know that connection is starting to happen and what that may feel like. And then after they cross, so that first little bit, letting you know that they're around and it's okay, and them checking in on you, and it starts to dissipate and not be as intense. Can you talk about that?
As far as like before they transition, when they're still,
however, whatever you feel like sharing, or if you have an experience,
share. I guess my experience, working in the hospital. So working in the hospital, we would have patients on hospice, and we would have. I remember one patient so clearly, like he was seeing his whole family, like he was, Bob was over here on a ladder in the corner, and so was over here, and he was just having the best time communicating with his loved ones. And I totally let him do it. And I remember having a coworker come in and say something to the effects of, "Oh, you don't see them, stop playing." And I'm like, "No, don't do that. Like, they didn't know what I did on the on the woo
side.
Yeah, on my other part of my life. But just allow them to have that connection. But I've also seen it with those who has Alzheimer's or dementia. It's almost like having one foot in the physical and one foot in spiritual, or in a medical coma, nonverbal. Like if they're in a medical coma and nonverbal, I can connect with them on that level.
I love it though. I love that so much. I'm like, show me somebody not treating you nice, or somebody digging in your shite. You show me so we can deal with it. Like I dig and show me everything.
Yeah, it's so beautiful though, right? Because especially with my clients that have, and that's a part of grief too. When you do have a loved one who has Alzheimer's or dementia, you're grieving the loss of your loved one while they are still physically alive. Mm-hmm. And I can't even begin to feel like I know what that feels like. But I've watched my clients experience it, and it's so heartbreaking. And it's got to be so, that's a lot. So to be able to connect with their loved one and be able to say the things that they want to say, or even if they want a new puzzle, like even like little mundane things like that, that their loved one wants that they can't verbally say, is a beautiful thing. But yeah, sorry, I was like left brain with that, going into the Alzheimer's and dementia aspect of it. But just having that 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and coming in your dreams, like coming in your dream state while they're still in transition. Mm-hmm. I know when I was when I did work in the hospital, that's when I guess I had my own validation for myself. I always felt like when spirit passed, like our soul totally leaves our physical body. And when I started working in the hospital and doing care after someone would pass, I would go in the room and it was nothing. Like their physical body was there, but you didn't feel an essence. You didn't feel, it was solely just like the shell. Mm-hmm. So having that validation for me was kind of like validating what I'd always felt.
It's part of how it works for me when giving a reading is I usually start from the transition place. and then work around that. Like, yeah. And they'll show me who, even though they're in that space of not being able to communicate or not having eyes open, who was in the room, what the room looked like, all those sorts of things. And we kind of work from that as a starting point and around to help them understand that, you know, they may have been their spirit observing what's happening in the space to help validate they did feel a hand being held or a kiss on their cheek.
Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you, one of the most emotional experiences I personally had is a dear friend passed away, and he was being kept medically alive for his organs. And they did a hero walk. So I don't know if they do hero walks in Canada, but here in the States, what they call a hero walk is when loved ones and staff and whoever wants in the hospital that wants to join, you line the hallway, and trying to get emotional. The person that is in the medically induced in the coma, they are wheeled through the hallway one last time to the OR. So it's your final seeing them as they go through. And as I was experiencing that, it was the most beautiful experience, but it was also the most heart-wrenching experience I've ever had. But being a medium, I saw him still anchored to his physical body because he was still being kept alive, you know, physically alive. But I felt his essence like above his body. Does that make sense?
Above.
Yeah.
Yes, it's above. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. I got teary-eyed. But it was the craziest experience of like, but he was still tethered physically because he was still physically being kept alive it was breathing for him. But yeah, having that validation too, a lot of times in readings of repeating those things to the loved one of they felt your hand, like they heard, even though they couldn't answer, they heard what you were saying, like they heard everything.
Yeah. It's a gift to be able to give that to people.
Yeah. And it's really it's a passion of mine in the very near future that I want to start working more in end of life care and being able to help with that transition in any way.
It's such important work. Kathy is sharing through channel writing with my son. He has told me he works with other souls who have passed by suicide. It makes me happy to know he's helping others. He always helped others while here. Thank you for sharing. Sandy is sharing, I work in long-term care, and I love when residents experience that. We were talking about connecting with people that are crossed over. On the other side. Oh, sorry.
I just let them talk. I just carry on the conversation with them.
And when they ask those in the room to say hello, Kenny is sharing, it's so hard watching your loved one be here, but not here with Alzheimer's. Stephanie, at first, after my mom passed, like for the first 5 years, she was very obviously flickering lights, including on the Keurig coffee maker. I remember when you sent me that video, and also turning radios on where you can't turn it off or down. That has all decreased since I have started with all of this evidence that she is still here. I've integrated her into my life so that it's like as if she doesn't need to get my intention as much anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. I noticed that too, because when I really first started down this path, I was pretty much rock bottom in my life. And my loved ones were throwing me all the things, like throwing me all the signs. And then once life got good, I didn't get it as much, but you're right. It's because I've learned to integrate it in my life, and I've learned to kind of get those cues from them.
It's a dance.
It's a dance, and it takes time. I try to tell people that too. It takes time. It takes time to learn yourself. It takes time to learn your abilities and what you're best at, so you can like work with spirit on where you can meet them. It's a lot of self-discovery and
yeah. Self. Yes, self-discovery. That's a good word. That's a good term. And I think that self-discovery, if we're again pulling back into grief, there's self-discovery in your grief journey as well too, right? You're learning just a whole different aspect of who you are and what your needs are, and boundaries are huge. Boundaries are a huge thing to find as well too.
And you're not the same person, and that's okay. We're not meant to stay the same. We're not meant to,
yeah, even boundaries with people in spirit, like those people in spirit as well too, is going to be important.
Yes.
Yeah, what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah, because in my experience, they keep their personalities. So sometimes, yeah, you have to use those. I'm huge on boundaries with spirit. I'm really big with that. I feel like it's just with people too, right? So I have to have boundaries with people that are still here. I have to have boundaries with
and then coming back the other way, do you ever hear people say they're worried that their loved ones will disappear on the other side, like that they won't, they worry that they're no longer going to be there or are not accessible because they're not, because they can't see them or connect?
I feel like in my experience, that's mainly come up with what their belief system, like their religious belief system is. So if they were part of a belief system where when they pass, that's just it. That's just it.
I love it when atheists come in on the other side, though. I love it.
So I've had people tell me, well, I'm surprised they showed up because when they were here, they would have never. But I try to explain it, at least in my experience with spirit telling me, like, they wouldn't give up an option to come see you. Like, they wouldn't give up the ability to come, and they can say, I was wrong.
Yeah. Well, I've had a Baptist minister come in and before talking to their loved one who was there for the session, talk to me directly to apologize for having taught people that someone like me was talking to demons. So the apology came to me, and then he came in sharing what he needed to share, which I thought was really fascinating.
That's great.
Christina, this is a great conversation. Thank you so much for asking this question. So Christina is sharing, if you spent a lot of time avoiding the openness out of fear and lack of maturity, but want to start connecting more with those in spirit and welcoming my folks in, is it too late when you've shut it down for so long?
Absolutely not. That was actually me. That was, I used to be so open. And then I think I was around 20. It got to the point where it scared me. So because I didn't have a community, I didn't know what I was doing. And it scared me. So I kind of like tried to shut it all down. And didn't really open it back up until 15, 16 years later. I will tell you, it's almost like peeling away the layers. It's almost like peeling away. It's building back that trust. So because I was so scared, that's why I do have a lot of boundaries with spirit. That's why I work a certain way. I don't walk around on per se all the time. Does that make sense? Like, I don't just walk around like I'm working, but just enough to kind of pick up on my own loved ones. But because I was so fear-based before, I feel like, it's probably taken me a little bit longer to kind of like get into the groove, because I've had to really like reassure myself that I have support on the other side that's protecting me, and trusting in them and building that relationship. That took time for me to build a relationship with my spirit team.
Accountability is the word that I always go back to. So we have, I I feel like we also we have a responsibility to our ancestors to move forward with our healing journey here. We have accountability to ourselves and our community to take responsibility for our healing journey. And as we do that, it opens us up even more to the other side. We become more sensitive to all the ways that we're receiving information.
Yeah.
So it helps you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I think I froze.
No, you're good. I just said, I feel I talked over top of you, so I was just letting you.
Oh, you totally froze on my end. So I was just, but yeah, no, I feel like because of that fear, we kind of create blocks. So like going through the healing is like removing those. Yeah, but it's totally not too late. If I could say my life truly started becoming beautiful once I really started connecting, and I've had miracles, I've had things happen to me that I can't truly explain, and I know it's them, like I just know it. But it's just, I wish I would have done it sooner.
It really does make life magical.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I know that sounds like all woo-woo and whatever, but it's the truth. I wish I wouldn't have been so scared when I was in my 20s and didn't start to mid 30s, but here I am and I love my life. So I wouldn't have changed a thing. You know, it's never too late.
And I love that you said that you felt like we were close in age, because I'm not in my, I'm a wee bit older than that.
I'm not in my 30s. No.
But I find a lot of people, especially women, come to that awareness in that mid 30s section. So like, you know, by the time they hit 35, and most people had that connection when they were younger, and then had to adjust to fit in. And we hit that place where it's okay to not fit in anymore, and we can't be uncomfortable in our skin. So we have to be honest with how we are perceiving things and picking up things. And the more truthful you are with yourself in your connection and how you're feeling spirit, the more confident you are in all other areas of your life as well too. Like it just, it makes you feel, you don't give your power away anymore. You feel confident when you're making choices because you have that connection. And it doesn't matter what the end outcome is, you know that you still have that connection that will lead you to the next best place for you to be.
Yes. Yeah. Having that mindset of it for my highest good. So even if something doesn't work out the way that I would like it to not work out, to work out, and it doesn't, I know that there was a reason, and I trust that now.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Christina is sharing. That's incredibly comforting. Thank you. Lois is here. Lois. Hey, Lois. I saw Lois. So awesome. Lois was also responding, Christina, saying that it's never too late. I'm learning even more now with Kim mentoring me.
Yeah, Lois is amazing. I'll see her tomorrow morning. I'll see her in the morning.
Oh, a vision board class.
Yeah, so it's so not like the vision board that you typically think of when vision board. So we're doing I wanted to change it up because I have found, at least for myself, when I do a vision board, it's too broad for me or, life happens. So we're doing a vision journal. So we're going month by month.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we're doing the first 3 months together, but I'm going to teach them how to continue doing it throughout the year. And have like a little vision, but we're going to have a theme too. So it's all about self-love and empowering and working with ourselves too, and not really having like a timeline.
Because spirit has its own timeline. And if you've been working on your stuff, it's happening fast. Like you'll be able to see how quickly that stuff is manifesting and what it feels like when you're in alignment and when you're off. And how to get back on track really quickly and watch it happening really fast.
Yeah. And that's why I only wanted to do it like 3 months at a time, because free will happens and life happens. And yeah.
Crazy. Yes, we're going to roll with it, Kathy. We're just going to take the age thing. Fiona, yes, you can watch the video and rewatch from the start. Paranormal Heart podcast. So Kat Ward, thank you so much for being here and popping in and saying hello. So UPRN host. Yes, Paranormal Heart. Steph. I always wondered who Kim Sage was. I see your name on Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and I think Lisa Crick's social media now. I know tonight's show is incredible. You both have amazing energy. Thank you. Kindness, love, and clarity to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Christina is sharing, my mom and granny really had it. I've known it's there, but avoided it after losing my parents. Now that my grandparents have both passed this year, I can feel the draw to opening up again without as much apprehension. The vibe and comfort of their presence is there, but happy to start opening to more solid communication in any form it comes. That's wonderful. Beautiful. And there's, it has to feel right for you in order for you to relax and then allow. If it doesn't feel right, then you just create more of your own blocks out of frustration, right?
Yeah. I always tell people when you are learning, and even now, I'll always be a student, but I tell people, like, put your feelers out, like learn all kinds of different things. And if it resonates with you, keep it. If it doesn't, just drop it. But I feel like we all are different. We're all not going to connect the same way. We're all not going to do things the same exact way. We're not meant to be, right? So find what clicks with you and what resonates, what feels good, and go with it.
And knowing that it can shift and change.
Oh, yes.
What's working this week for you may not work next week.
Yes.
Or you've learned a new way of approaching it. So now you're going to do it that way and being okay with it. It's that high intention, low attachment. Like
no expectations.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Because it just creates blocks, right?
Yeah.
But
we get in our head too much. We give ourselves too much pressure. Like we create too much pressure for ourselves.
Yeah. The Chihuahua brain, right? Yeah. The Chihuahua brain. Where do you see our role as a medium, like in alignment with clinical therapists, or do you know where we're going? Like,
yes. So I feel we bring more empathy into. I feel like we bring more. Do you mean as far as like what?
I feel we work alongside them. We're the puzzle piece that they can't. So I know that I have recurring clients, right? So I have recurring clients that once a year it's like a check-in, right? What did they see everything that was going on over this last year, and do they have guidance about what's potentially coming up? But I make it very clear I am not a therapist. I am not a therapist. I am not any of those things. I can't help you with that aspect. So I'm the puzzle piece that person can't do. So I feel like I'm in alignment and can support a grief counselor, and hopefully I'm a support for them, and that we can be part of a
collective.
Team in moving forward. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy's sharing, I feel you add more depth.
Yeah, because I was feeling, where in the clinical sense, for the most part, there's only so much time, or there's only so much that they can do. I feel like we're like a bonus, or we can maybe add those little things that or explain it in a different way, if that's what I'm trying to say.
I'm always very honored when someone says to me that their grief counselor referred them to me. Like when a therapist has referred, I am always very honored by that. and it's a privilege to hold space for somebody who's feeling vulnerable and is allowing us to be in. There's responsibility with that too.
I was going to say, there's an ethical part of that too, where if I'm tuning in and feeling that this is beyond what I can help them with, I will totally suggest professional counseling or seeing a physician, because I don't, sometimes you don't know where you're meeting a client, especially if it's the first time, until you're in the reading. And then you realize how fragile they are, or how vulnerable they are in that moment. So while I can help in that way, I also know to stay where I need to stay and suggest professional, medical or professional help when it's needed. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for sharing this, Kathy. Kathy's saying a client doesn't always share everything in a clinical setting. Mm-hmm. Your loved ones on the other side sees it all, and you share that part.
And it's kind of like your loved ones bring it up too, right? In my experience, like your loved ones will bring it up, so they don't even say anything. they will start talking about it.
For sure. Yeah. They will kick your rump and say that there is this grief journey now needs other support or a doctor because you're not paying attention to your physical health. Like, they will bring those things up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stu. I'm very honored to be a part of this journey with you. My kids and I have been helped tremendously by Carrie Lynn with my husband's passing.
I like how Michelle said, like a cup of coffee, some can drink it black, but others take some cream and sugar to make it more palatable. I love that. I'm such a coffee drinker too, so I will totally do that.
Karen helps me more.
And that is I know we're not professional therapists, and I'm going to school for grief counseling, right? So when I get that point, I have to navigate how I do my services, right? I'm not sure how that's going to transpire when the time comes. But I've had a lot of clients say, like, I got more out of this than out of my therapy, or I got more out of this session than going to somebody for, over a year.
I still panic when I hear that, though. I go,
it's
a lot. Yeah.
But it's like, wow, because I don't even realize how impactful what we do is sometimes.
Lois is sharing, Kim is my person all around. I had the grief sessions with her. She helped me with my husband's passing. I was told some terrible things about our relationship, and she communicated with spirit to help. That's beautiful. Yeah. I need to be mindful of our time. I could just sit and talk to you for hours.
I know.
But we've got 2 minutes. So where can people find you really quickly?
Yeah. So easiest is my website. So that's literally kimsage.info. So all of my services on there. I do have a Patreon. So I have like-minded community, and we meet a couple of times during the month and do virtual spiritual circles. And I think the easiest is my website. Yeah. All of my stuff is on there, and I'm pretty eclectic. So I'm into a lot of, have my hands in a lot of different things, but I am this year transitioning more into more grief and more end of life care services, still doing readings. But I'm seeing how this path unfolds for me.
I love that you're doing that, and I wish you all of the best. And thank you for hanging out with us tonight and having this conversation. And as you go further in that journey, we'll have you back and we'll chat some more. And
thank you. Thank you so much. Your community is amazing. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next week, Azria Beckham is coming back on, and we're going to finish the conversation. We're talking about our galactic DNA heritage and genealogy. So she'll be back next week. Thank you to Joe Montaldo, Michelle DeRoche, UPRN. Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you for sharing from your heart space. Thank you for allowing us to hold space with you, sharing your time, energy, and your words with us this evening. And I hope to see you next week.
Thank you.
Take care. Good night, everybody.